Welcome everyone. My name is Cecília Ferreira and I'm presenting GlioBrain-Plate, a CRO service aiming to improve drug discovery for brain cancer. Brain solid tumors, such as the ones listed here, remain amongst the hardest diseases to treat, not only because they are cancers, but because they have another challenge, the blood-brain barrier. This is a physiological barrier that prevents alien substances in the blood from reaching the brain, including most drugs. Hence why most of these cancers do not have highly effective therapies. Instead, they mostly have palliative standard of care. And the worst case of all is glioblastoma, remaining still as a death sentence. Despite decades of research, there has been no major advancements in finding better therapies for these patients. The challenge remains at finding a compound that can excel at two things. One, cross the blood-brain barrier, and second, kill the tumor. Since more than 85% of compounds that reach later stages end up failing due to poor blood-brain barrier permeability. But this is more than just failed compounds. Every compound that fails later represents years and years of research and investment and time that patients simply do not have. We must change this reality by identifying these false positives earlier, reducing the cost of the pipeline, and achieve a fail fast, fail cheap approach in order to bring better hope for these patients. This is the reality of drug discovery. Over more than a decade, thousands of compounds are progressively filtered out until one eventually reaches the patients. Each step of the way, we must select the compounds that will proceed, but each step of the way is also increasingly more expensive. Yet many compounds that look promising early on keep on failing later after major investment has been committed. This is alarming because less than 10% of compounds that reach clinical trials ultimately succeed. So the question remains, how can we identify these false positives earlier? This is exactly where GlioBrain-Plate operates, earlier in the pipeline, in the drug discovery and preclinical phase, where thousands of compounds are being evaluated. By providing more predictive information, we can help support the go-no-go decisions. By filtering out false positives, GlioBrain-Plate will reduce the risk and cost of the process to more than half. GlioBrain-Plate is our proprietary combination of a brain solid tumor protected by a blood-brain barrier. So let's look at one of our validation case studies from the lab using doxorubicin. Doxorubicin is a chemotherapeutic, and when added to traditional models, it has a low IC50, suggesting that doxorubicin is highly potent and highly effective. But when added to GlioBrain-Plate, it must first cross the blood-brain barrier, just as it would in the patients. But now the IC50 measured is much higher, telling us a very different story. Now doxorubicin is no longer a promising candidate. It actually suggests that it requires further optimizations before proceeding the pipeline. And this is the known truth for doxorubicin. So this is an excellent example on how GlioBrain-Plate will help support go-no-go decisions and prevent these false positives from slipping through. To the best of our knowledge, there is currently one other model that combines a brain solid tumor with a blood-brain barrier by mimetas, so let's compare both. Please pay attention to these green signals in the images. In GlioBrain-Plates, they have a very uniform distribution and it's a strong signal, suggesting that our barrier is very intact and functional. But if you look at the mimetas green signals, they have gaps, suggesting that it's a leaky and non-functional blood-brain barrier. They cannot establish an intact structure as we do, and this was highlighted as one of our competitive advantages by our potential clients. They said that our model represents exactly what exists in the patients, an intact barrier that drugs must cross in order to reach the tumor. Our addressable market was estimated at 480 million euros, with our served market, by initially focusing on Europe and America, holding 70% of the market, estimated at 336 million euros, with a 13% growth rate. Existing solutions typically evaluate brain penetration and tumor efficacy separately. But GlioBrain-Plate does both at the same time in a single platform, enabling more trustworthy results. We will operate as a B2B fee-for-service CRO, as companies send us their compounds and we perform the screening study using GlioBrain-Plate. Depending on the level of information required, we offer two types of services, one more extensive than the other. Our roadmap will focus on technology validation and automation with market entry and industry engagement. We are seeking 1.4 million euros in order to bring GlioBrain-Plate to the market. Following commercialization, we project a gradual market entry followed by a strong growth as adoption increases. By 2035, we estimate to profit at close to 11 million euros. Our team combines strong expertise in brain cancer biology, in vitro technology development, and entrepreneurship. Together, we have the right skills to bring GlioBrain-Plate to the market successfully. Brain cancer patients cannot wait another 20 years before one therapeutical breakthrough. GlioBrain-Plate will prevent these false positives from preceding the pipeline, reducing the risk and the cost of the same, enabling better chances at finding better therapies for these patients. Better models, better decisions, better outcomes for patients. Thank you very much.